ask myself, how can I make this more like a car wash? How can I remove the feelings of like, what are people going to think if I do this or if I say that? Remove all of that and just set up a place for people to come get what they need, watch the free videos if they want, buy a course if they want, come into the membership if they want. And all I have to do is show up and be myself and make videos and try not to let emotions and people's commentary influence the decisions that may or may not grow the business.
This is Meredith Marsh. She makes over $100,000 annually, showing you how to look good, sound good, and feel good on camera to better help you build an audience for your business. Her start was rather unconventional, but once she decided to turn her hobby blog into a sustainable and consistent YouTube channel, her business has been able to steadily grow through unique circumstances. In this episode, we're going to discuss her shift from hobby to YouTube as a business, her clever way to overcome her lack of business savvy, YouTube flagging her channel for invalid traffic and how she dealt with that, her sponsorship that has taken her around the world, plus her secret blogging strategy that has helped her build her brand. Meredith's story is a testament to the power of perseverance, strategy, and creative thinking to build a sustainable career on YouTube. The Funded YouTuber is brought to you by GigaStar. Welcome to the podcast, Meredith. I'm so excited to talk with you. I mentioned offline, I'm always so grateful for you because you are always like going along with my crazy adventures. And you always come with me. And I'm always so grateful for that. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I'm always happy to chat with you.
Let's talk about our favorite thing in the world, money. First, tell me, how did you get started on this YouTube thing? What do you create? Walk us through that.
Well, how far back would you like me to go?
I feel like the start is the best place to go. Like, what was the circumstances that led you to YouTube?
So back in 2013, 2014-ish, I was working a full-time job as an in-house web designer, social media person for a local company. And I just had this thought of like, I'd like to figure out how to be a content creator. I really set out to be a blogger because I thought that was the thing. And so I just kind of like noodled around ideas in my head of what would I create content about. And I already had a background in web design. I already understood the SEO side of content, but I did not understand the business side of content creation. And I was not looking to create videos or be on YouTube. Like that was not even in my head at all. I watched some YouTube videos, but that was the extent of my thoughts about YouTube. So it just sort of happened one day. I bought a GoPro camera and I let my kids play with it. I made a little video and they were amazed by it. And I thought, why aren't more people making family videos like with a GoPro? And that was my light bulb moment for, oh, I wonder if I could create content, like teaching people how to use the camera, edit the videos, like how does this all work? And I did a little bit of keyword research and I discovered that there was a lot of people searching for that type of content, but there wasn't a lot of content out there. So I started creating content about how to use a GoPro camera, how to edit GoPro videos, how to make family videos. And it only seemed natural the content I create should be videos since I was talking about videos. And I put the videos on YouTube and I started publishing every week in January 2015. And I thought that I was just building a blog and I was just putting my videos on YouTube because that's what you do. But after a few months, I started to notice there were these things called subscribers on my channel. And I was like, oh, people are subscribing. Like people want me to keep coming back. They want me to create more content. And there was comments and there were questions and there were like, can you make a video about this? And can you make a video about that? And I realized that the audience I was building was really not on my blog, although the blog was growing too. It wasn't Facebook. It wasn't Pinterest. It definitely wasn't Twitter, and it wasn't Instagram. It was YouTube. YouTube was bringing me eyeballs and traffic and people and an audience. And it became really fun to create videos and see the channel grow and keep coming up with new ideas to create more videos. And so this was before YouTube had their monetization milestones. So back in 2015, you could theoretically make AdSense money on day one. It took me like 4 months or something. And I remember opening up the app and I had made 12 cents. And I was like, oh my God. And I remember where I was and my mom was there. And I was like, I made 12 cents. And she was like, doing what? I was like, YouTube. And she was like, okay, good job, I guess. And I'm like, no, but it's 12 cents. I made 12 cents out of nothing, out of videos. And then, it grew from there, and I made a whole business out of it. And I don't make GoPro tutorials anymore, but I make videos about making videos and growing channels and growing an online business with video content and YouTube.
How did you get to this part? And how did your money shift from going from GoPros to like video education and business building?
Money shifted slowly towards growing, towards growing bigger. So I started the channel in 2015, and then in early to mid 2016, my job removed my position. So I lost my job, my business, the channel, like through AdSense and affiliate marketing and through some courses that I sold. I was not making anywhere near like my full-time income, but I was making enough that I felt like, okay, there's something here if I just put all of my focus towards it. And so instead of going out and just getting another job, I just focused on the business. And it was really slow, to be honest. It took me like 3 years or so to get it from the time I lost my job to replacing my actual income, my actual take home pay. I really didn't know anything about business. Like I knew how to make videos, I knew how to do YouTube, and like I knew how to do all of the components of an online business, but I was not, I mean, who's born knowing how to be the CEO of a business? Not me. Like I'm just like I just want to make videos. And so it took my brain a while to make decisions about what to create, what to do from a place of what's good for the business versus what sounds like a fun thing to do.
I think this is a really like powerful thing that you've just shared, where it's like no one knows how to just run a business. Like it's not something we know. It's not something that's usually like very innate. It's not like, and it's not usually a college course that's like start a business 101. Like it's always like all these other parts to it and stuff. And I think that a lot of people start out this way, or like I want to go create this thing, and somewhere along the way you figure out I'm actually a business, not like this YouTuber. And in order for me to scale or get to the place where I can go back to being just a YouTuber, I have to do business things. So how did you figure out what to do, and what do your systems now look?
Here's an interesting story that's going to sound like a tangent, but I promise it makes sense. One day, I was driving by the car wash in my town, the one car wash in my tiny town, and I noticed that there's like three car wash bays where you just do it yourself. You pull in, you put in your quarters, and you have a hose and soap and whatnot. And there were two automatic bays. All these cars lined up for the automatic bays. And this question just triggered in my head where I thought, wouldn't it be nice if business was as easy as just having a car wash? Like you just set it up and people just came and they chose whichever one, do it yourself, automatic, vacuum, use the little thing to get an air freshener. Like they just showed up and you didn't have to do anything. You just set everything up. And I thought, I bet the owner of the car wash doesn't lay awake at night wondering what people think about his car wash or how people feel about the smell of the soap or how long it takes to get their car washed or whether there's a line. He just knows all he has to do is set it up, make sure there's a way for people to pay him, and they'll get their car washed. And so I had that thought of like, wouldn't it be nice if it was really that simple for me? And then my next thought was, how can I make it that simple for me? Because when you are the person on camera, talking to the camera, doing the editing, making decisions about what topics you're going to choose, you're the one reading the comments. Also, it's really, really, really easy to let how you feel or let how other people feel influence how you make decisions about your business. So I just started to keep that car wash in my mind and ask myself, how can I make this more like a car wash? How can I remove the feelings of like, what are people going to think if I do this or if I say that? Remove all of that and just set up a place for people to come get what they need, watch the free videos if they want, buy a course if they want, come into the membership if they want. And all I have to do is show up and be myself and make videos and try not to let emotions and people's commentary influence the decisions that may or may not grow the business.
I think that's incredible. First of all, like kudos for like that question. Like I feel like that needs to be a like a t-shirt you make. Like how do I make my business like a car wash? I
Yeah.
think that's super great. I love that. I didn't know that. That's really neat. So you figured this out by asking questions and like going through the steps of figuring out what you can do and how you can build it. And I think that that's really smart, doing it one piece at a time at a pace that made sense for you based on the skills you had, what you were capable of doing, what you knew how to do, and then also like balancing also with your life with your family. When did you like realize like this is going to be what you did full time? Because you said you lost your job and you're like, I'm going to do this. Did you just decide like, okay, I'm just going to do this full time? Or is it, I'm going to keep looking for this job and keep doing this. And then eventually you realize that this could be what you did full time?
Wow, never thought about that. I pretty much, really from before I started the business, ran it for like 15 months or something, growing it from nothing, and then lost my job. So I started it with the thought of, I'm going to grow this to the point that I can just quit.
Okay.
And so, like, I like to say they broke up with me first. Like, I totally planned to break up with them, but they broke up with me first. And so, because I already was, in my mind, I was already headed there, even though I was nowhere near ready. When I lost the job, it just made sense. Where I live in the middle of nowhere, there aren't a lot of places where you can just walk in and be their like in-house web designer, social media person full time. So I would have had to commute at least an hour away each way to go to like a bigger city to do that kind of work. So I just decided I'm going to do this. Plus my kids were little at the time, and so the childcare aspect and like all of those things, it just was like, my husband had a stable job, and I was like, we'll just make this work.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I would have been open to employment, right? I mean, there are a lot of times where I would have been like, man, would feel really good to just have a job right now. Like those steady paychecks are really kind of nice when you don't have them. It's like, wow, that would be cool. So there definitely have been many times where I've thought, if the right job came my way, I would probably look into it. But nothing really came my way. And so I'm just doing it. I guess from day one, I'm like, this is my job. This is my job now.
All right. So within this, what has been your most successful income situation since getting to go full time?
My most successful income situation, I've dabbled in lots of different streams of income: affiliate marketing, AdSense, of course, from YouTube ads, creating my own courses and programs, courses and memberships and things like that. Is you have to either continuously promote them, or you have to, like, every quarter do some kind of a launch, like a 5-day challenge, a big webinar, a 3-day live series thing. And either way is a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's like I'm supposed to make the videos and do the regular business stuff and figure out how to plan these promotions or create consistent promotional content or spend a crap ton of money on ads that I was like, no, frankly, I would rather keep that money and not give it to Meta for ad spend. So last year I was just thinking like, man, wouldn't it be just nice to just create consistent revenue from my course sales without having to launch, without having to spend money on ads? And it was like this huge light bulb moment. I'm like, Meredith, you have a YouTube channel, you have consistent audience growth, you have consistent traffic. Why aren't you using that to generate consistent revenue aside from, yes, the odd like affiliate marketing, AdSense, like all that stuff? But that didn't really add, for me, it didn't add up to what the business needed to make to be sustainable. So basically, I figured out a way to infuse my course, my 30 Days to a Thriving YouTube channel course, into my channel so that when people find me for the first time, they have a way to work, not directly with me, but they have a way to go deeper and be like, oh, she has a course, I could just do that. That would be a lot easier than spending a whole month trying to piece together a bunch of free YouTube videos talking about YouTube strategy.
It's the automatic part of the car wash.
It's the automatic part of the car wash. Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
so by linking those two together, how did that change your revenue?
So I stopped having to run promotions or email promotions or do webinars and stuff like that to sell that course. And In the 11 months that it's been up, it's generated $20,000. It's a $147 course. It's not like $1,000 course and I got 20 people in. It's only $147. And I haven't had to do anything. Like, I'm just making videos like I normally would, but people have a way to get more of my resources and pay me when they find me, rather than really having, before that it was like, I didn't know that you even had a course. And it's like, oh, well, no wonder I wasn't making sales, right? So the hands-off nature of it has been a game changer, because it's like, is passive income truly passive? No, of course not. But how passive can you get it while still being of value to people, and while still being like integrated with what you're doing every day with your content anyway? It's like, how passive can you get it? And I feel like I got it really passive. So now I just get to keep doing that and
Yeah.
create more of those YouTube funnels.
I think the interesting thing about like the idea and the definition of passive income is supposed to be like, it's just money that comes to me magically because I did this thing. And it's kind of one of those things that like passive income is passive income until you stop working at it. So like for example, let's use like a really easy to understand concept like musicians. Musicians make money, a big bulk of their money, not from making music, it's from touring, right? So they do these tours, they make a bunch of money, they sell a bunch of merchandise, and they get like that where they get a lot of money, because when they're making money through their record, they get part of it because usually they have to share it with like the record label and the producers and the people that are a part of it. And like the less parts they do, the more money they have to give up. But the passive part for them comes in when it's like down the road, when they're not able to tour, they're not making music. Maybe it's like they got hurt or their band doesn't do it anymore, or they're just too old, or their life happened. They enter into the passive income place where it's like they're able to make money like off of like Spotify and iTunes sales, and like, oh, it got picked up to be in a movie, and so like I get that burst of revenue that goes into it. But it still continues to gradually become smaller and smaller, but it's still, I think, a necessary part. I think one of the best examples of like why making things and letting that sit for you and working for you for a long time is with it's Kate Bush, when that song that everyone was singing from Stranger Things, the
Yes.
like no 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 God, like that whole thing, the song that she did in the 80s. It wasn't even that massively popular in the 80s, but then it like blew up in popularity from Stranger Things, and she made millions off of the passive income that came from having that video and people redoing it and all of that kind of stuff. So passive income, so when you think about, when you tie it back like more like what we're doing like in our space, like I think about passive income like I'm an Amazon influencer. I did like all of these videos. I like committed myself in 2022 just like going full on for like 4 months. I made like a minimum of 5 to 10 videos every single work day about like stuff around my house, things that I would buy. I invested in it, and so I could make money off of the Amazon influencer program. In 2022, I did. I made like 50 grand off of like the Amazon influencer program. And then my life happened, and I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore because it's just not something that's in my wheelhouse of something I'm able to do. And it's gone down over the course of the like since that moment, since we've doing that. But it's still, I still get somewhere in the vicinity of $500 to $1,000 a month from it because it's just sitting there because I did all that work up front. And so I love how you talked about how you put the work into something, you systemize it, but you also have to keep it alive by continuing to show up in your YouTube videos, almost every week, so that you can make it keep working for you, so that it can keep being passive for you. So passive income, I really think, needs to be redefined, in my opinion. Like, it's not just like I did this thing one time and now I get money forever. No, I had to do a lot of work. Like those music artists had to do a lot of work to become relevant and stay popular all these years. Like I still listen to like Ashanti and NSYNC and all these people from my past.
Yeah.
It keeps their music alive because it's what I enjoyed. So they get that passive income stream, but they haven't toured or done anything in forever.
Right.
I'm proud of you for what you've done to systemize your course. I know how stressful it was for you to have to always be doing the launches and the 5-day things and all that kind of stuff. Tell us about a bad money situation. Like, when was what was something that happened to you that you're like, oh my God, this is horrible. Maybe even making you rethink like this whole creator thing.
Last year in like September-ish, I got a notification on my YouTube, on the back end of my YouTube, that said that I was getting, I can't remember the exact wordage, but YouTube flagged my channel for invalid traffic, which meant YouTube's system had detected that people were watching my videos and intentionally watching long amounts of my videos to inflate the ad revenue, or intentionally clicking on ads to inflate the ad revenue. And a lot of people got hit with this last year who were like totally blindsided. Like, no one's doing that. I'm not telling people to do that. And YouTube has a very, 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 very poor way of communicating with creators who are hit with this notification. And so the system will continue to place ads on your videos, but only pay you the tiniest fraction. So anyone who has, your YouTube analytics open regularly, and you look at your like views graph and your subscriber graph and your revenue graph. The revenue graph was like an absolute cliff. It just like one day it just went boom. It just sunk, and it stayed sunk. It was a total drop off, and it stayed sunk for 1 week, and then 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks. And I was like, what is happening? It was 6 weeks, and then it came back. Some people, the revenue never recovered. Some people had like 3 months, hundreds of people, big creators, small creators, all like people you would think have connections at YouTube were getting hit with this and not getting it resolved. So that made me, so my AdSense makes up such a tiny fraction of my monthly revenue.
Mm-hmm.
But part of what I do on YouTube is telling people, make YouTube videos, grow your business with YouTube. Like, come on in. It's great here. YouTube is fantastic. How am I supposed to be supportive of a platform who is doing this to people, who's removing? I mean, there are some people who had to get rid of their basically close their business down because they were making such a huge portion of their revenue was coming from their AdSense, and it was now not enough to sustain their their production team. And so I am disappointed in YouTube for how they continued to not deal with this situation. But at the same time, like I said, I put my course into a YouTube funnel. My course was making sales. My course was making more sales than ever, even more than even when I was doing promotions and stuff like that. And so, I realized YouTube AdSense revenue is just, let's pretend it doesn't even exist, because honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if one day it didn't exist. I would not be surprised if it didn't exist.
That's a big statement, friend.
I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't, because look at how much or really how little other platforms are paying people to create content, and they're still creating content. So like what incentive does YouTube have to pay people other than right now it's trying to compete with every other platform? But I don't know. It really felt like YouTube is okay with pulling the rug out from under people financially and not addressing it or dealing with it at all. And so I think the best revenue stream is the one you have the most control over. And also just last year, I don't know what happened in 2023 to revenue streams, but I've had revenue streams last year that said we're getting rid of our affiliate program.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
For you, it was Canva, right? Because for me, it was ConvertKit.
Oh, did ConvertKit get rid of their affiliate program?
ConvertKit completely changed their affiliate model, where they only are paying you for 12 months that someone has signed up,
Okay.
rather
Yeah.
than where it was like, no, you signed up, so they came to us because of you, so naturally we're going to keep paying you. They got rid of the program, so so if you sign someone up, you only get them your commission for 12 months.
For 12 months. That's interesting. Yeah, Canva they didn't get rid of their affiliate program. They made it so that, in order to be in it, you have to make one video a month promoting Canva. And I was hardly making anything on Canva. I didn't really care about that, other than I knew there were a lot of people who were making money with their affiliate revenue that were not interested in having all these stipulations tied to it. But also ScreenFlow, company behind ScreenFlow, Telestream, I think. They were like, we're getting rid of this. And I'm like, I was only making a couple $100 a month from it. But what drives me crazy is that the content that I created that was driving those sales still exists. The content is still there promoting the software. And I know from the history of my affiliate account that I was getting a handful of new sales every single month from content that I created a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Those sales are still coming in. They're just not paying me the portion that I helped create for them. And that is just, to me, that is awful. It's an awful thing to do when you know that like the content is still there. It's still promoting that software. So again, I think the revenue streams you have the most control over are the most powerful, are really the best way, I think, to build your business around, because you might think, oh, that'll never happen.
We talked to Justin Evans on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and he had talked about how the Children's Online Protection Act hit that Google got hit with, and like at the start of 2020, like 90% of their income went away, and they had like over 1 million subscribers. Like it was a huge part of their income, and so he had to make like this really big pivot. And they're like, it's really like having to completely change what they were creating, like from kids content to like over 13-year-old content, so they could put the ads on, figuring out like it's really demotivating. And so it's very much like we had to figure out what we could do instead. So I think that it's the right way to approach it. And I know a lot of people, like even the big people like Colin and Samira, like AdSense isn't an active part of our P&L. Like we're trying to do the other things to do too, but there are a lot of people out there that like their account is like their AdSense account is a huge part of what they need to do. So let's talk about your pie chart, your income streams that you have. You have 11% that's coming from AdSense, which you just talked about. We have 5% from sponsorships. Who are some of the sponsors that you have built long-term relationships with? Because I know that you tend to be pretty particular about yours.
I'm very particular. I have worked with Epidemic Sound for a long time, for a long, long time. They sent me to Sweden last year, so which was pretty cool. It was very cool. And I've worked with Riverside. I try to make sure that I'm working with people that if a sponsored video were to go viral, is that going to attract the right audience to my channel? Because yeah, you could make videos about different products or software that like some of your audience is interested in. But is it like pretty much all of your audience is interested in it? Because otherwise they're not, I think the videos don't really perform well. And then I don't feel good about, why did I even do this to begin with? And sponsored videos take a surprising amount of time to handle, I feel. I've been in many situations where I have a sponsored video that in my mind is like ready to go, but they're like, can you make this change? And in my mind, I'm thinking they're going to approve it. I can publish this tomorrow and stay on track. And they're like, can you make this change? And I'm like, now I don't have anything to post tomorrow to stay on my schedule because I was planning for this. Or like the person you're in contact with like goes on vacation and you're waiting, for a week, and you're like, if I had this backlog of videos ready to go, this wouldn't be a problem. But I don't have a backlog of videos ready to go. It's a lot of extra work. So I just try to make sure it's something that really resonates with my whole audience and is, if people came to me through that video, it's the right audience. And I do like gear and tech stuff, so like sometimes, company will be like, can we send you our new thing? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, because I want to have it. I want the thing. And then I'll go and I'll be like making the video and I'm like, how am I supposed to tie this into my regular content? Um, and I just like, I do my best. Of course, I don't do sponsored content with like something I don't like or like it doesn't work or something. But just recently a company contacted me and I was like, they make like professional grade stuff. And I emailed them back and I was like, are you sure? Because I'm not a professional at this, like, and my audience are not professionals for the most part. And I know that you make professional equipment. So before I get on a Zoom call with you, are you sure you want me to promote this thing? And so they told me they had something totally new coming out that they thought would be perfect. So I was like, all right, just making sure, because if I like show up with some professional setup, I'm probably not going to use it ever again, other than to like make the video telling people about it. It just seems silly.
I can understand it. Like sponsorships are really delicate because you want money and you want products, but you also need to make sure that they align with your audience and that it makes sense for you. And doing that like work around with your calendar and stuff is really hard sometimes. One of the things that you do for an income stream that I find incredibly unique compared to others is that you have a blog that makes you money. Now, you did preface with me like, this doesn't make as much as it used to, and that is by choice. I would love to talk about for a minute, and you've tied in this into your AdSense income of that 11%. I would really love to talk about like how you've used your blog over the years to drive traffic for your YouTube channel and how you've been able to make money with it.
So the big answer to that is search engine optimization, SEO, at which we live in an interesting time that we're recording this, because the word on the street with AI is that SEO is really about to change drastically in the next couple of months, like particularly with Google. And so I'm really curious to find out what's going to happen there. And I'm also really glad that I don't rely solely on just like blog traffic for my business, but I make a blog post for every video that I create. And you have to remember, like I said, I set out to be a blogger because I knew how to do SEO. Like I knew the basics of basic blogging SEO, website SEO, how to do keyword research, and how to optimize posts for stuff. And so I've just sort of done that from the very beginning. Now the power of YouTube, it just continues to like get bigger and bigger for me. And so I focus more effort. I would rather spend an hour recording a YouTube video than an hour optimizing a blog post for SEO. So I go the route of like, let's focus on the video content, which is still SEO sometimes, not all the time, but most of the time. So, yes, people find me through my blog because they're searching for something on Google. Not everybody, believe it or not, goes to YouTube to search for things. As much as I know you and I want to believe that's like the first place, but people go to Google and they search, and if you can get your blog post or just page on your site to rank on the first page, your chances of getting that traffic is huge compared to like being like on the 9th page or something.
Yeah.
And sometimes the difference in what you have to do with optimization, sometimes it's just a slight difference in getting yourself ranked on the first page. So that has played a huge role. Really, that the blog played a much bigger role when I was first starting because I focused more on it. But I still make blog posts for every video.
Aren't you part of like some company or group that puts ads on your YouTube channel or your blog that helps you with income and stuff like that? What's that about?
Mediavine is an ad network that basically places display ads and video ads on your blog. So, and it's not unlike AdSense, except that AdSense is only Google's ad network. And what Mediavine has are like, there could be people advertising on your site that aren't even advertising through Google's whatever. So you have a bigger pool of advertiser opportunities with a blog. So Mediavine also recently released a new, like lowered their threshold to join. So I think you have to have 10,000 sessions or page views a month to apply to Mediavine. And so, which is really, if you're creating a lot of YouTube content, it's not really that hard to generate 10,000. If you're SEO optimizing your stuff, it's not that hard to really get there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can kind of pick and choose if you want sidebar ads or in content ads or.
I think the idea of repurposing to a blog is something that like people like you and I who also have like business clients, like regular. And I know that you've had some of these over the times. I know I have those. Those are most of my clients. They're regular businesses that are like, I need to be found in search because people are looking for me based on like local traffic. And so the idea of like creating YouTube content and repurposing into a blog is not something a lot of people think to do. Where do you think is the best place for someone, a content creator, a YouTuber, to go to learn about how to turn their content into a blog and optimize it appropriately so that it can start getting them traffic so that they can eventually add those income streams?
Where can people go to learn about that? YouTube.
There has to be some kind of course or program or person
There
that like you
are,
would recommend.
yeah, there's a couple of really good options. There's a guy named Mike Futia, I think his last name is. He used to have a course called Stupid Simple SEO, and I think he just changed it to Stupid Simple Blogging.
Okay.
And his course is really, really good. It's very in depth. It's very like if you're starting from scratch, you can start from scratch. If you already have a blog, it shows you how to like look at the data and figure out what you need to optimize more of, what you need to change, tweak, add. And I think he also has a section in there on Pinterest if you're like into Pinterest. There's also the Project 24 people who have like a YouTube course and they have a blogging course. But I have a couple of videos on my channel that are old, like from like 2020 on blogging and like turning your videos into blog posts.
We're not there. We definitely need a much more updated version. No, that's good. We'll include the link to them over onto the show notes so people can find it and everything. We're so into like our video spaces, and as YouTubers, we're like always ahead of things. And what can we do next? Like, where's the world at? Like, where are we going? What can we do to get ahead of things? Sometimes looking backwards is a little bit helpful too for figuring out like how can I get traffic? How can I get these additional income streams? Like I tell people all the time, especially in the business space, I'm like, don't sleep on Pinterest. Like Pinterest is a wildly underutilized platform. It's like LinkedIn. Like Pinterest and LinkedIn are these like over here like hacky sack playing cool kids everyone like knows exist but don't like go hang out and talk to, that are really relevant and important and popular when it comes to like things that have to do with our space. And I think that LinkedIn is about to have a good moment with creators, because I was just at an event in LA, the Information did a creator economy summit, and everyone, like no one had business cards, everyone's like, okay, let's get to LinkedIn. Like we scanned the QR codes, like we were all connecting on LinkedIn. There's a couple people, usually creators, that are like, I don't use LinkedIn. I'm like, if you're going to be in this room, you need to be on LinkedIn. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. So that was really interesting. But Pinterest is another one. Like, you're looking for website traffic, you're looking for video traffic. It's really, really helpful. And I just saw someone posted on LinkedIn about this actually, that you can now automatically post your Instagram posts over onto Pinterest. And like there are all of these like little things that go into it. So it's like, just don't sleep on them. Like, they're really powerful things. And I would not say like if you like you're in that solo space, it's definitely a place probably to spend a lot of time. But if you have a team at your disposal, if you have like a content creator or like a VA or PM that's in your system, and like they're able to add that in to like the process of what they're doing without it being like this super drain outside of learning how to do it, I think it's super worth your time to do. Our next income stream on our pie chart is 35% of your income comes from affiliates. And she very clearly told me this includes Amazon, which is almost nothing compared to my other affiliate programs. So talk to us about how you do your affiliates and why Amazon plays such a small part.
Amazon plays a small part because I'm just kind of like, if you want to buy this camera I'm talking about, there's a link in the description. Like I'm not really pushing a lot of Amazon sales. I am in the Amazon influencer program. I did make videos once upon a time, and some of those still generate, a little bit of revenue, but it's just, I just don't focus on buy this thing, buy this thing, buy this thing, buy this stuff. It's, it's just like, here's a link if you want.
I think that's totally fine. And we talked a
Yeah.
bit about like how affiliates work as part of like your sponsorship strategy as well. And
Yeah. Yeah, so a huge part of my affiliate chunk actually comes from promoting other people's courses and programs as well. So and that is just that, again, that's because of SEO, because I have some posts that are very well optimized for certain courses. And so, one thing I will say about affiliate marketing is I think I feel like right now is a really good time to jump on anything. There's a lot of new AI software tools, companies who have affiliate programs that are paying a fairly big chunk for the payouts because they're new and they want the users. And so they're willing to pay. They have investment money. They're willing to pay affiliates to promote. And so one thing I've noticed over time is that when a new company is like, just like, we're going to do affiliate marketing, we're going to get out there, we're in a growth mode, they're willing to pay a lot more. They're willing to pay their affiliates a lot more. And then once they have the user base they need, then they start tweaking it and start doing things like, oh, we're only going to pay you for the first year, and things like that, because they don't need those affiliates to drive those sales as much. And so that's something to look at, I think, because there's an affiliate that I promote is what I'm trying to say, who pays like $50 for a new customer. So I'm like, $50? I only need to get 2 people to sign up to this. I make $100. Like, That's sounds easy to me. So again, like it's really in line with my audience and what I talk about. And so heck yeah, I'll promote the crap out of that until probably in a couple years they'll be like, actually, we're going to back down on how much we're paying our affiliates.
It's a great thing for getting started. Like affiliates is a good thing. Like, and a lot of people have talked about like doing affiliates more. And it's a little frustrating as a creator because like I want to get paid to make my content. And I also want the affiliates because it takes so much time and effort to do what we're doing. It's just part of the ebb and flow of the back and forth between like the creator and the brands and like how we can find a symbiotic way to work together. And it's just about like having the right network and the right relationships with people and knowing what you're worth and what you're willing to do and like how important long-term a relationship can be so that you can then, grow it from there.
I'll just add to this. I noticed lately a lot of like direct sales, multi-level media marketing, multi-level marketing companies are going towards an affiliate model. And at the same time, I notice some sentiment, rhetoric, something, what's the right word? I'm not sure, of people being like affiliate marketing and they're putting it in the same box, which I don't think is fair. I don't think is accurate. Like it's not semantically the same thing, but it kind of is. And so that is actually one reason why I'm okay with like, I'm just going to slowly distance myself from affiliate marketing because I don't want to be in the MLM box. I don't think that's a good business model because again, you have no control.
We've had a whole separate conversation about this, and
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
bullish on the fact that I really feel that like the way, especially the 2020, like the COVID era, the way people were talking about content marketing and becoming a YouTuber and like getting on TikTok and creating all this stuff, I really, really felt that the way it was being sold and marketed by the quote unquote the gurus, right, who are never actually really good, was very network marketing like. It's almost like to me, the creator economy became the new network marketing, and it really saturated the market in a bad way and it took away from us. But those of us that have been like just kind of going steady and strong, I think this is really the year that we're going to see the people like back out of it and realize that like it was a flash in the pan situation for them. And if they can figure it out or pivot or just like walk away and go do something else.
Right. Right.
You have 1% of your income from consulting and speaking, which is pretty self-explanatory, but the biggest chunk does come from courses and digital products. And you've said that this includes your courses, your programs, your membership, and all of your coaching clients as well. Besides your coaching course that you are your course that you have about like using video, what are some of the other digital products that you are selling?
I have a membership called Thriving Creator Society. I have the course that's 30 Days to Thriving YouTube channel. I also have a new course called the YouTube Funnel Clinic, which is all about how to set up a YouTube funnel on your channel, how to basically YouTubeify your paid programs with YouTube, obviously, so that you can generate consistent sales without having to pay for ads, without having to do webinars and all that.
I love it. Well, very cool. All right, Meredith, what is your next money move?
My next money move. Ooh, this is a hard thing. So, my next money move, first of all, I just launched a podcast yesterday, the Video Brand Infusion podcast.
Fancy.
So, my next money move is to backfill, is that the right word? I need a long runway of videos. It's a video podcast and an audio podcast. So, my next money move is to backfill like a quarter's worth of content for the podcast so that I can just schedule those out
Batch them up.
and then focus on creating more content that drives traffic to the funnel course and also to the 30 Days to Thriving YouTube channel course. I have a couple of other little courses planned too, but one thing at a time.
No,
Right.
I love that. That's super fun. And of course, if you ever need a guest, I happen to know a good one to help you out. So that's exciting for you. I always love when you're doing new projects. They always turn out so good. They're always so thoughtful and intentional. You're not one of those creators that just like, ooh, shiny. And it's always so strategic because I've been in the DMs with you where you're like, I'm thinking about this. And then like we talk about it. And then like 3 months later, like, okay, I did the first thing for this. Like, oh, that happened.
I'm a slow thinker. Like it took me a year and a half to even make any moves towards starting a blog or YouTube channel. Like from the time that I thought, I'm going to do this. It took me a year and a half before I actually hit publish on something because I wanted to do it right. Like I wanted to, maybe not perfect, but I wanted to do it right in a way that I could keep going with
Mhm.
it.
I love that about you, though. So,
Yeah.
all right, you can
Thanks.
find the links to everything that Meredith is doing over at thefundedyoutuber.com. Until next week, go get that money. Bye. The Funded YouTuber is brought to you by GigaStar, a parent company of GigaStar Market, an SEC-registered funding portal, and member of FINRA. Learn more at gigastar.io. Music provided by APM Music, unrivaled music to bring your stories to life. Neither GigaStar nor its affiliated companies provide legal, regulatory, financial, or tax advice. Any opinions expressed herein are those of the authors and are the informational purposes only. The information and opinions expressed herein are subject to change without notice and do not take into account the particular investments, objectives, financial situation, or needs of any specific investors.